now to the border, south to the border. Just 2 months into the White House's amnesty experiment, the scene along our southern border is legitimately chaos. Whose fault is it? That's the conversation. According to the Biden administration, it is, of course, Donald Trump's fault. But as things approach this catastrophic level, the Biden administration is trying to cover its tracks and keep as much in the dark as possible. That's the concerning new development here. They are restricting information that Border Patrol agents and sector chiefs can share with the media, and they are now denying all media requests for ride-alongs with agents along the southern border. And there have been 0 ride-alongs to date since Joe Biden took office. Joining me now to talk about what's really going on at the border is U.S. Congressman Chuck Fleischmann, who represents the 3rd District of Tennessee. He was part of the delegation of House Republicans led by Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy that visited the border in El Paso, Texas on Monday. He's also the ranking member of the Homeland Security Subcommittee on the House Appropriations Committee. Congressman, welcome back to the program.
Pleasure to be with you this evening. Thank you for having me, sir.
Well, we are thrilled to have you. Tell us what you saw at the border when you were visiting there on Monday.
A crisis of monumental proportions, a crisis that could have and should have been avoided. An unnecessary crisis of humanitarian cost, national security proportions. This is a mess. Make no doubt about it. This is Joe Biden's border crisis in a nutshell.
Now,
President
Congressman,
Trump was, yes.
Yeah, because you were there, if you could, you describe this as a crisis. Tell us specifically what it is that you saw that led you to that conclusion.
Facilities that were built in 2020 to hold people who came over, migrants who were apprehended, filled to capacity for the first time, and now they're going to have to put tents in the parking lot to hold the overflow. 120 border agents who would have otherwise been on the border, protecting the border from illegals, drugs, terrorists from coming over, now reassigned to basically be babysitters because they needed personnel to deal with this. Cost to the American taxpayer of about, $800 per day, maybe more, per illegal migrant coming over. Border Patrol agents begging us for help. We were told that we could not bring our cell phone cameras into the facilities. I complied with that. We did. I'm not going to go against what they asked. The reason why, they don't want the American people to see the disaster that's going on.
That's incredible. So you're a member of Congress that went to visit the border, and they told you that you couldn't have your phone there because it has a camera?
We can bring our camera into that facility. That's correct.
Did they give an explanation for that, or did they just say hand over your phones?
They said, do not bring your phones in. That's our rules, and we all complied. All 12 Republicans who were there, members of Congress, complied with that. But inside there, it's a problem. And let me say this. The people who are benefiting from this, the coyotes, the cartels, the drug runners, are taking advantage of this. President Biden not only stopped construction of the wall, but he is promulgating executive orders that exacerbate the problem, that make it worse. And he's clueless about it. To call this a challenge and not a crisis is ridiculous. The other day, he finally said, thankfully, please don't come. Well, they're coming because of him and his rhetoric, the rhetoric of Nancy Pelosi, the rhetoric of Chuck Schumer, and the left wing of the Democratic Party. It's destroying this country. We're being overrun.
Now, Congressman, we've been hearing stories from the border for a few years. And, of course, in 2018, the situation at the border made national news because there were caravans coming to the border, and what to do there was a national story then. Then it seemed to quiet down. Now it's in the news again. Can you tell us a little bit what's happening from a policy level that may have led to the appearance that things were under control at the end of the Trump administration to what now is clearly a situation that is not under control?
Well, as an appropriator, I worked with President Trump, the administration then, with senators in a bipartisan way. Remember, we funded the border wall in fiscal 2021. There are funds that we said need to go, and that was signed into law. Well, President Biden now is disregarding that. But the bottom line is, when you basically say that the Trump administration policies of keeping our border safe, keeping illegals out, working to deal with this situation, keeping our American borders safe, which is a different issue even from immigration. Remember this, they caught Yemenis last week. They caught 3 or 4 Yemenis coming across. They've caught Chinese. There were people from countries that you would not imagine coming across a porous southern border. The reason is Biden incentivized this with his rhetoric. He said when Trump was gone, he said you could come on over. Now what is he saying? Well, don't come now. He should be saying, look, America is going to enforce its immigration laws. America is going to enforce its border security. He's not doing it because he does not want to do it. It does not fit with the left-wing dogma that his party is espousing.
How do you think the current situation should be handled? What is the right response in light of the rhetoric that has led to this situation? How should he respond that would get this under control again?
First of all, restart as Congress directed him to under law. Finish the border wall where we had started it. Number one, we've appropriated the dollars for it. He should follow the law and do what we've done for fiscal 2021. Second, stop these ridiculous executive orders that he's promulgating that just empowers the coyotes, the cartels, and those migrants. Thirdly, sit down with Republicans and Democrats and come up with something comprehensive to get border security to protect the people of the United States and make sure we follow the existing laws on the books. They are not doing this. And what I said on the border, I will say now. Because of the problems that he has caused, we are going to see months, if not years, of additional problems with these illegals being actually released in the United States. They won't show up, the vast majority, for their hearings, and they will be dispersed along the border. Democratic and Republican mayors all across Texas are screaming for help. These people are just being brought in buses and released into their communities. It's wrong. This is not an immigration policy. It's an immigration disaster. It needs to be addressed. And I don't even think Joe Biden knows how to address it. He caused it. They caused it. But I really don't even think he knows where to begin.
In the next segment, we're actually going to talk to the mayor of Midland, Texas, who has some thoughts on this. But we've got just about 90 seconds left, and I got one question for you, one more question, I think. The House of Representatives voted on 2 immigration bills that would provide a path to citizenship for millions who are currently in the country. Can you tell us, do you think those relate to what's going on at the border? What are your thoughts on the wisdom of those bills?
Well, we have got to incentivize legal, not illegal immigration. We have got to incentivize the rule of law. Think of all the wonderful immigrants who came to this country and played by the rules and got it done legally and right. There are here not the folks who come across and get dispersed illegally. So Congress needs to send the right message, not the wrong. So We'll hang there and work hard.
Representative Chuck Fleischmann from Tennessee, thank you so much for your labors in Congress, and thank you for taking the time to join us today. Really appreciate it.